Hey, I'm your host, Wes.
And I'm your host, Scott.
Come on in and grab a seat.
Because you're hanging with us at the Barbershop. So, another great week's gone by. How are you?
Not bad. Things are starting to move at the house. After several months of not doing anything with it, we finally swapped the battery in my mom's car and have it off to the garage to see what it needs to be safetied so we can either hand it over to Emily as her daily driver or put it up for sale. So
very good.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to get there.
It's been a beautiful lawn ornament for the months that you've had it.
Although the neighbors probably won't complain because you've seen my neighbor.
I've seen your neighbor.
So after the disaster that's his house, I don't feel so bad having multiple cars in my driveway.
All good, all good. And you did some painting. Did you do painting or do you defer
I watched
that?
Kim paint. So I will paint, but at the same time, she took some time off this week and wanted to have some, I don't want to say me time or alone time, but that was sort of her thing that she wanted to do. Right. So rather than me go, hey, do you want me to help? I just kind of get out of the way and just encouraged her and watched. And
I'm very much an encourager as well.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's a couples building session
to
paint together.
So with my complex health issues, sometimes tasks that require a certain level of concentration and potential cooperation don't go off as smoothly as I would like them to.
I hate to giggle when you say that, but it makes me giggle.
And you know what I mean, right? So we got Farmer Henry to come over and assess the shed. And yes. I think we've got a plan for that. But
very good.
Deferred to the springtime.
So by the time this episode airs, we'll have some stuff on the air. And I'd just like to make a small retraction or correction.
Wait a minute, you don't lie.
But I do make mistakes.
Okay.
So we were talking about axe throwing, and we talked about Battle and the IATF. Battle is actually the Backyard Axe Throwing League, and it is a club that runs several clubs through the GTA, and they are part of the IATF. They are not they're not a standalone
thing.
They're
in the family.
And then the one that we don't want to care about is Wattle, which is the World Axe Throwing League, which has crazy other rules and things like that. So if we don't care about one, it's Wattle, and Battle is like a sister club within our association.
The IATF.
You got her.
Right. So we are not waddlers.
We are not. So don't beat me down because I got it wrong. I got it right this week.
I can't beat you down. You're number one in the league again.
No, I fell this week. K-Mac has taken
Is Kevin
first.
back on top?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Give the guy a break. Let him make up all his makeup games, and he takes it back to the top.
And he crushed it.
Well,
but good for him.
He did do that. That's for sure.
So, episode 4.
4 already.
Yeah. And today we're trying again. We had guests, but our wife last episode, so they almost don't count as real guests.
Don't tell them that.
I know. But they love us. So they were to come and had fun with us no matter what.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to be back.
So today, though, we are joined by Harmony.
Hello, Harmony.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
And you made the harrowing drive to Bob Cajun today, so thank you very much.
I did. It was actually really nice. The colors are nice out there, and we're not too busy on the roads because it's not the weekend quite yet. So.
Exactly. So Harmony and I have some history. We worked together at Mark's many years ago, I guess now.
How many years ago was that now?
I've been there 15 years. I feel like you were there early on in that, so maybe you've been gone for 10?
Oh my gosh, I was such a young pup back then. Wow.
But so that's sort of how we know each other. And then we've remained Facebook friends, acquaintances, mutual likers and commenters on each other's posts.
Yes.
I'm all for the Facebook. It reconnected me to my wife, so hey.
Yeah. Well, it's actually one funny story that I quite enjoy telling. That might have been before you and I reconnected. Michelle and I changed our relationship status on Facebook. And do you know who the first caring soul was that commented to me?
An ex-girlfriend?
Was Harmony.
Oh,
was
how
it really?
nice.
It was. And you were like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, it's all good. Just a flick of the button switch. It's a very interesting social experiment if you change your relationship status from married to complicated.
You know, if I bring that up with Kim, I don't know if she'll laugh at it or look at me and think I'm crazy.
Maybe crazy.
But look at our social circle and our life. You know, the people that are going to be commenting, if it's not the family on her side, it's going to be all of the people. And you know you have them. And Harmony, you probably have them too. You know, there's certain people you keep on your social media, not so that they have a window into your life, but so that you know where they are in relation to you and you can sort of hold them at arm's length.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want the first comment to be the gossipers of the world, which I know that's what it would be.
Yeah, for sure. And then, and to throw that out there, we noticed the other day we are the only couple from our premarital class that's still married.
Still married. Well, congratulations.
So, yay me.
If it makes you feel any better, so am I. But in my class, it was just us.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of relationships and cool stuff, we're going to jump all over with cool stuff about Harmony today. But you have got an awesome relationship story that's just recent.
I do. And that's the funny thing, too, is I've never changed my status, even though we've been together for a while. It's still just, it doesn't say anything. So
Well, at the end of the day, right? Some people need to quantify it really, really quick. And other people are like, you know what? Whatever. It's all good.
And I'm not about that. I couldn't even tell you how long we've been together. I'd probably have to count back. So February, we started going out before COVID happened.
Nice.
And if there was ever a test to a new relationship, it's COVID. Because we had met on Tinder. Yes, dating app, Tinder.
You swiped right.
I
Dun,
did.
dun, dun.
So we both swiped right. And we basically entered lockdown together as a new couple. And we're still together. So I think we did okay.
That's good. So that was a serious conversation that was probably had, that you sat down and be like, okay, they're talking about bubbles. They're talking about lockdown.
Yep.
And you're like, are we locking down together?
We locked down together.
And your place or his place?
My place, actually.
Very good.
Yeah.
So that's good because you've got dogs.
Dog. Just one.
So,
yeah.
right, that's good for him.
Him. Yep.
Yep. And so I mean, right, didn't change anything for the dog, right?
No, he just had more pets.
Right.
Basically.
And he
yeah.
and the dog enjoys your...
He does.
Good.
Yes, yeah, they get along pretty well.
That's a pass
which is good.
too, right?
Oh,
so I
for
mean,
sure.
right, that you can hang out together and share toothbrush spots.
We
and
actually share the same toothbrush. I know it's disgusting,
No,
but yes,
you
we
don't.
do. I know a lot of people, like, they hear that and they cringe and they're like, that's disgusting.
In a pinch when we're traveling, for sure. As a daily, no.
Yeah, we honestly would.
Wow.
It's you know what?
Our comfort level's
I'll
pretty
throw it out
high.
there. I have occasionally used the toothbrushes that don't belong to me, and then
By accident?
Well, right, typical bathroom setup, and they're all sitting in the cup or the toothbrush holder, and they're color coded, and somebody will get another, like, right, blue one, or I have the navy and they have the teal, and in the morning I don't really notice, and I'll grab
The one you think is closest to your own?
Yeah, and then one of the kids will be like, "Who's been using my toothbrush? It's wet already." And I'll be like,
no.
"Oh, it was me," and it'll be like instantaneous garbage.
So is this the time where I tell my toothbrush story, or do I save that for another one?
Maybe another day.
Fair enough.
Maybe another.
We'll
day.
come back to that on another episode where we're talking a little more.
But yeah, so
We'll call that the revenge episode.
I'm never afraid to share a spoon or a fork or eat something off the floor. I think you probably were around. You've seen me eat jubes off the floor at work.
Hey, 5-second rule. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So I mean,
Hey man, 13 years in the army. You know what I've eaten?
Oh my god.
right, lots. And some of it, yeah.
God damn it! I want my Salisbury steak, and I don't care that it's sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
If you can eat those ration packs, you could probably eat anything.
56 days consecutively without a fresh meal. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Wow. But yes, we do. We did share lots of things and our space and our little bubble when lockdown happened. So it went pretty well.
That's really
still
cool, though,
still
right?
going really well. Yeah, you never know.
That speaks highly of both of you, I think, that you can go do that. And because some people are like, "Oh no, I have a girlfriend, but we just spend weekends together or this or that," and you just threw it all in.
All in.
That's good,
all
though.
at once. So no regrets. Haven't looked back.
Oh, that's
so.
good. That's good too, because like that's the type of situation where you kind of wonder, like, is that the enamor of a new relationship, or is that like that's the metal of, the core of what's going on?
Yeah.
And right, I mean, us being a little bit older, I mean,
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, but this difference of, I think back in our day, there were still people that got married that had never lived together.
For sure. For sure there
and
was.
just be like, oh, we got married and then we moved in. And you're
Yeah.
like, how'd you do that? And I mean, you don't know if they're, a snorer or they're a butt scratcher or all these things. So anything, like, did he notice anything, Harmony, that really stuck out, that like habits or nuances that he's like, do you know you do this?
I don't think so. He hasn't told me if he's noticed any.
And since, like, right, what happens on the cast stays on the cast, do you want to throw him under the bus? Does he have anything that you noticed?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Oh no, share one.
No.
Dish, girl, dish.
He's pretty good, but he does snore.
Right.
Which isn't uncommon. So whatever.
That just means he's relaxed and he's enjoying the space.
Exactly.
If it makes you feel better, Scott snores.
Thanks, bud. Thanks.
We weren't supposed to throw him under the bus, but
I think that's a given. I can snore while I'm awake. It's
exactly. That's how I know.
Yeah.
But he's told me, he's like, yeah, you do snore a little bit too, which is fine. But he says, oh, it's cute. And I'm like, thanks for lying for my feelings.
That's right. My wife snores. It is not cute.
Oh.
We're so it's like that whole, you snore, right? No, I'm asleep. How do I know? Because I'm telling you.
I know because I've woke myself up.
Yeah, well, I may or may not have. So Kim and I have both done that. It's funny because one night, after several days of playful banter about, who's snoring at night. I'm not snoring at night. Babe, really, you are? No, I'm not.
Did you record her?
I did. The funny thing is, as soon as I moved, I guess me moving in the bed was enough to just jostle her back enough that when I put the phone over her face, she opened her eyes. What are you doing?
Yeah. Did she still deny it? That's not me.
No, she knows. Yeah.
So, Harmony, Wes and I have started this podcast thing, and you were one of the people that, again, I feel like you're attached to your phone in social media, like, right? So you were one to comment and click pretty quick, I think, that you liked the idea of the podcast, asked where you could find episodes. Like many of you, they are coming. And right, we got talking about it, and you got talking about sort of a change in your life, not only in your dating but your job too. So I think that's COVID related as well, sort of.
That is also very much COVID related. So I worked at Fleming College, and up until July 27th, I got laid off July 27th. Due to COVID, they cut back their numbers. So I was kind of left in this spot of, what do I do now? Right? I kind of planned on retiring from there. I loved my job there. I love the people there. I loved helping the students. So now I was in the spot of, okay, I'm 32. Now what? Do I go back to school? What do I do? So I took a good hard look at what I liked to do, what I loved to do. And I actually started my own photography business.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And the name of said?
So it's Reinhardt Photography. So it is my last name.
Right.
That's what I went with branding. And I basically dove in head first. I'm like, this is my passion. I love to do this. Here I go. And I haven't looked back. And it's been a really great experience so far.
By the looks of your Facebook page, you've been keeping busy. Lots of fall photo shoots.
Very busy. Yeah. I got a lot of family shoots coming up. Just this weekend, I'm doing Peterborough to Collingwood to Wasaga Beach to Shelburne to Grand Valley. So that's
wow. So you're all over the place.
I'm all over the place. Yeah, I do serve most of Ontario.
Sure.
Yeah, just to serve my clients better. So I love traveling. I love discovering new places. And
so, is there a particular specialty that you like to shoot more than something else?
Right now, I am really getting into doing the family portraits and family shoots, and just doing unscripted, lifestyle type portraits with families, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kids bring a lot of energy to the photo shoots, and I love working with the families. They're usually pretty enjoyable to capture.
So if the family wants to come and see you, you've got a studio for them to come to?
I do not have a studio right now because I am new. That's quite a big investment, quite a big venture that
Sure.
way. So right now I will travel to location. If you want at your house, cottage, farm, favorite place, outdoors, favorite park, if you have that in mind, I will travel to you, or I can pick a location. And normally it is outside right now, especially due to COVID. Just keeping distance. And,
right.
And yeah, so.
So if someone's looking for you, where can we find you?
You can find me if you Google Reinhardt Photography. I have an Instagram, a Facebook, and my website. If you want to go direct to the website, it's just reinhardtphotography.com.
Right on.
And the spelling of that is REINHARDT photography.com.
In the traditional German spelling.
Yes, with those silent letters.
Right on.
Nice.
But no, it's been a great experience so far. So yeah, definitely different.
So, did you do a lot, like, as you said, you kind of reflected and you really looked at finding something that you love, which I think is, you talk to anybody and be like, oh, it's not work if you love it. And
right.
A lot of that, because you have an eclectic group of likings. Because like when I knew you, you're very much into security. We were joking, I think you still shoot tactically.
I don't anymore.
No, you
I
were
miss
for a
it
while.
so much, but I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shot at the range probably about once a week for a while there.
Right.
And did skeet shooting with friends any
Right on.
opportunity I had.
That's more than most soldiers.
Right.
There's a joke there. Wait, so photography is the new thing, and not to backtrack or to sideline, but what were you doing at the college?
I was an admin assistant, so I was basically the face of Fleming. So as soon as you came
Sure.
in, I was at the front desk.
Oh, wow.
Parking, security, dispatch,
Yeah.
sales,
Sure,
databases. I did just like a bunch of everything. So, but photography is something that I've loved since I was a kid.
Right.
The house I grew up in wasn't very nurturing for any of those hobbies or
Hear, hear.
talents or likes. So that was never something that kind of
I can
flagged
hear you.
out in my brain as, hey, I could do this for a living.
It's amazing, right? When you kind of look back and you're like, oh, I like this. And then you're like, oh, you could have done this as a career. And you're like, I can? And I think looking back and even at your age, I think that's...
Well, that's exactly what hit me was
Yeah.
like, why, life is short. Why not do something that I absolutely love? I'm going to do it.
I wish I was your age when I came to that conclusion.
Well, it's never too late.
No,
as
it's
they say,
not.
As they say,
It's
right? It's better
certainly
late
not.
than never.
No,
So
you're absolutely right.
That's kind of how I'm looking at things right now.
I can certainly appreciate that in my own life and how I've rebranded myself, personally and professionally. So I certainly agree. I guess I'm just lamenting that, being the age that I am, I wish I had more time that I had more time to invest in what I'm doing now, to grow it at a time that wasn't so chaotic and uncertain. But, at the same time, I fully appreciate what it's like to be your own boss and, not have to work for anybody else, and how difficult it can be, but at the same time, how rewarding that is.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience so far.
For sure it is.
And back when I first knew Scott, I was very much into security. I wanted to be a police officer originally.
Go blue.
Yeah. But
Did some auxiliary work.
I did. I was with auxiliary in Peterborough for 6 years.
Was that the Peterborough
so-
service or the OPP?
Peterborough.
Sure.
Yeah. So, in high school, when they got you to do those little placing tests or what you'd be good at when you grow up,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I was leaning in that direction. And now looking back, I'm kind of glad I didn't. It's a super challenging career and takes a really special kind of person to do that. And I just not that.
No, it
person,
absolutely
so.
does. It's right up there with all of the emergency services. And I guess I can relate to that in my own life. As like I said, I spent a long time in the military, but even in that, I was a medic. So it's like, you kind of understand it from a medical perspective, like what, paramedics are going through. But then as a soldier, it's a similar.
You can pull a lot of really cool things out
Some
of it,
parallels,
right?
yeah.
Because you've worked retail, you've done the auxiliary, you were there. And you've been a problem solver for a lot of years, Harmony. You've dealt with the public in a lot of positive and negative ways. I can only imagine, some of your stories of parking and tickets. And I've seen some creative parking at Fleming to get around maybe paying the lot fee or not having.
Is it a gated lot?
It used to be gated.
Sure.
Now it's a ticket lot. So you pay for your ticket.
Oh,
You
that's
display it
even
on the
better.
dash. Pretty simple. But
When I was a college student back in the 90s at the Barrie campus of Georgian, so parking passes were a swipe card, or I guess more of a pass card that you just hold up to the sensor, but it was gated. And I can tell you, at least on half a dozen occasions, I pulled up to, you didn't have to swipe a card to get in, but you did to get out. So there I am in my first car ever, my 1983 Chevette, and pulling out of the lot. And, I hit the boop to get out. The arm goes up I would go through and the car immediately behind me would zip through with me.
Right.
And that's what a lot of students would do, is they would forget it. I'm not paying for it. I'll just, sneak through on somebody else. But, the odd time that the barrier clipped a car, or, somebody got rear-ended. I got rear-ended by a professor once.
Well,
Good times.
Yeah.
we have people do that. The tailgating is what we
Oh, for
call it.
sure,
You
for
tailgate
sure.
through. We've had people drive right through the gate. Honestly, like, don't want to be late for class. I'm not
Crunch.
paying. I'm just going to take my lifted truck and
I'm
just
going
drive
through.
through it. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
It's happened. So. But people get heated about parking. I don't know what it is. It's a weird thing in the industry where it's just parking is this trigger point for so
Yep.
many
Yep.
people.
Yep.
And it's simple, right? You pay your few bucks. I think that the problem is, you go to the hospital, you got to pay to go to the hospital to feel better. And you don't know how long you're going to be there.
Yeah.
And, sometimes there's not ample parking space, or
Nope.
it feels like that, or it's, you got to park in the back lot. And you're like, where are all these other people here for? Because
Yeah.
I'm sick today and I want my care, and I don't want to go and put $10 in. And I think PRC is doing it very well, because you get the ticket when you go in, and then you put your ticket into the pay machine
Yep.
on your way out, and it just says, "Oh, you've been here this long, and this is what you're paying."
Yeah, and I think with PRHC, at least it maxes out. I'm not sure what it's like $10 or $12. Like
Yeah.
the hourly rate caps out at a certain, but there are other institutions where no cap.
Yeah, and it's funny, right? And then people are parking in the surrounding neighborhood because I'll just
Yep.
park on the side of the road
Oh yeah,
and not pay.
or I'll just
$5
park in, like at the Ross. I'll just park in Emerge at short term, and hopefully I don't get a ticket.
Right. I when I was going to see my cardiologist on a regular basis, you pay $5 on Charlotte Street. You go into their lot and no parking spot. And I drive the truck. It's a little
Yep.
bit bigger, and I'm just like, so then you leave the lot, and you're like, I paid. So then I park on the street and I go in. I'm like, I don't mean to cause a scene, but I paid $5 and couldn't find a parking spot. And the lady just
Gives you your $5
yeah,
back.
clinked me
Yep.
back my loonies, and I'm like, oh, thank you very much.
So they've gotten that before.
For sure.
For sure.
So it's interesting. And as you say, it's certainly a touch point for a lot of people over the years. So Harmony, when you kind of started the business, did you have a lot of different ideas on how you wanted to grow it, or, future plans for it? Or is it just sort of seat of your pants, or did you actually write a business proposal, or?
Oh no, that was definitely not. I went by the seat of my pants.
Nice.
I just kind of dove in, and you know what? Kind of just going with my gut at this point. A lot of business comes from word of mouth, right? Peterborough and the surrounding areas, smaller towns. So I'm getting bookings basically just by people seeing the work and wanting that type of work.
Right.
And then my reviews definitely help when people are nice enough to leave those about their experience. And it's nice to have, somebody who's personable and friendly and relatable. That's, hanging out with your family, capturing your memories.
Right.
I've heard of some horror stories, unfortunately, of very robotic people that come, they do the shoot, and that's it. It's just for money.
Yeah.
They're just there for that, and it's not a fun experience, right? So
Sure.
but nope, no business plan, just developing it as we go, and so far so good. So.
And you've started to have that organic growth. Have you had clients that are not friends and family and have come from something like that yet?
Yes, yeah, I've had bookings that are people that I don't know, you know,
Right.
and a couple months in, I wasn't expecting the volume of bookings to grow so quickly.
That's cool.
But people have seen my work, they like it, they, hearing things, reading the reviews, and which has really been positive for me, and people are booking. So.
That's awesome. Because, that's what you want, right? And I think, too, as much as you want to say or whatever spin you put on COVID, but I think, right, people have got a ton of time on their hands. And as you say, outside, right? So you can go outside, you can do some poses. I mean, ideally family portraits, everybody there should be in your bubble. And you can go out and show people what you're doing and show people that you're still enjoying life and you can smile. And I think it's important that that service is there, right? Because not everybody knows somebody with a camera. Not everybody has that eye for light or to pose somebody. Not everybody has that idea of how to do it well. I mean, when our kids were little, we went to Sears and we got lots of baby pictures and stuff. And there's a guy that was his paycheck and that was about it.
Yeah.
Not even sure if he liked kids, and heaven forbid you had a fussy child the day you went for your photo shoot.
I feel like the Sears photographer, and by extension of that, the Walmart, or back in our day, Scott, the Zellers photographer, I don't think they were real photographers. I think they were just the associate who got that department.
Right.
That wouldn't shock me. That was like, hey,
Yeah.
you get to do
This is
photography
your-
for a couple
this
months.
is
You're in
your
the
shift
you're-
today.
Yeah, you're in the Photoshop today,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
enjoy that. But
A lot of, I don't want to say unkind, but maybe people who just were not happy to be there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Right. If it's, as you say, it's not your dream and your passion,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
it's, not super exciting. But yeah. So I saw a cool post you did the other day, Harmony, and it was somebody else's photo shoot.
yes.
And then you're like, I love to do this. Any takers?
Any takers.
So you're definitely, it's sort of that collaboration thing is sort of how you're looking at it too.
Well, and that particular photo shoot that you're talking about was it was a bestie shoot. So the two girls that were, just having some beers with their Jeep.
Right.
Just fun shoots like that, like capturing those kind of memories that you can look back on and be like, oh, that was really fun. Like, or, remember when we used to do this, is something that I would definitely go into and dive into.
Right.
Like, not just stuck with doing family portraits or weddings and that, but like really fun moments in life.
Hey,
and
Wes.
Hey.
Bromance.
There you
Photo
go.
shoot.
All about it.
Oh boy. Sure. Give the wives some more firepower.
Yeah.
There you-
Be nice.
Well, he said bromance, not boudoir, so no.
Oh no, there's a standing joke between our families that we're in a full-on bromance. So it's totally on the nose.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a bit of love, but but any type of collaboration too. Like, I'm reaching out to local photographers as well. If they're willing to train or have me come along on shoots or just share some of their knowledge, I would love that. I'm kind of in the mindset of that it's more of a collaborative effort rather than competition.
Right.
Because everyone's got their own artistic style. They do their own, they have their own niche that they like to photograph. So
For sure.
I wouldn't think of it as like stealing customers or that, but rather just, learning from each other.
I think it has to be that way. And even in retail, right? I always pride myself in having the ability of knowing who else carries stuff similar to what we carry. And
Sure.
if you don't have it, a good suggestion is almost as good as having the product there. You can go here or you can go there. And as I say, right, if you have good relationships with everybody in the area and people that are in your business, I mean, that pays dividends, right? I mean, you give one suggestion, I'm overbooked. You really need that engagement photo shoot by this date. I can't fit you in, but Jenny down the block is certainly capable of doing it, and we've done stuff before, and right, it allows you to get, and then you hope that it reciprocates and you get a suggestion back or something like that. So yeah, as you say, right, it's definitely a better business practice, I think, than the grind them into the ground.
Yeah, not about that.
I don't know how well it translates, but I mean, you look at what I do here in the shop as a toy retailer and reseller of vintage stuff. In our line, like, you almost have to take some caution with who you want to align yourself with, because while you're good intention and you're looking for that collaboration, your competition may not be looking for the same thing. And I find, like, in our business, especially, we see it when we go to shows, right? You see that there's always the smile is there and it's a friendly nod, but there's something else behind it where that you are directly competing with each other. So, I have a very small list of other retailers that I would recommend, and none of them are in Kawartha Lakes or Peterborough. They're all far enough away that they can't compete with me, and I can't compete with them. But they're good people that I would recommend. But like I say, like, it's use caution when you're building those relationships.
That's good advice.
There you go. So, anything else? Any other good stories you want to talk about or relate back, or Do you got a good Scott story from when we worked together? I mean, that's a long time to remember something worth laughing about.
We do like the good Scott stories.
Oh my gosh. Something that wouldn't embarrass you.
Oh no, even the ones or the ones that would.
Or get me fired.
No. Oh, you know what? I don't think there's one particular story in general. It just, you were a lot of fun to work with. You're always laughing, super positive guy, good at your job. So you're a good resource anytime I needed help with something when I was working there, which, yeah, it might have been 2022. Oh
right.
Gosh.
Yeah. Right.
So
it's funny
ago.
too, because we joke too, right? As depending on when you think you actually hit adulthood.
Oh,
and right, I often reference, I've worked with a lot of kids over the years, and I just say, right, it's that 21, 22, kind of still in school, and there's definitely currently a lot of people going for a degree and then a diploma and then maybe another degree. So we're seeing people stay longer with us and through their education and, and still living at home or still sort of in that student lifestyle. So yeah, it's interesting. It's fun to see back too, though, right?
There was one girl we worked with, I can't remember her name right now, and she was a career student. And she had been in university for 4 or 5 years, plus already did college. Plus when I was leaving, I think she was taking another course.
Right. And I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially if you're in the arts or in the humanities, is you can make that a career. And if you're a good student, you can almost make it a job too. Because I mean, some of these schools are more than willing to pay you to be there or to do research and comp you a lot of stuff. My niece is doing very well with her English, has a Trent degree. She'll have her, oh dear, what comes after a degree? Her
bachelor?
Her master's?
Her master's.
Yeah.
Her master's from U of A out in Alberta. And then there's talk of a doctorate. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and she's always managed to pick up some sort of little package from whatever institute she's gone to. And she's very good at her job. And she confuses me with her big words, and but yeah, as you say, right? It is a thing now, is professional student, and you can go far with that. And I'm not that guy that's going to understand what the end game is with it, and okay, I can't apologize for that. It's just I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, right?
For sure.
But
well, when I looked at going back to school, I obviously took in that kind of financial aspect. And I'm like, I've paid my student debt off. I'm done.
How do you start again?
Yeah, I can't start.
And it's not
didn't interest me.
It's not as nearly as forgiving now as when you were paying it off, I believe. So
yes, they've changed the rules to OSAP.
Yeah, as things changed, and it's more all of a loan, and there's not so much grants and
less grants, more loans,
and not nearly as much forgiveness. So
no.
Interesting, right?
Or funding.
Exactly. Well, obviously funding that with things changing, right? Speaking of funding, did you get at least a decent package from Fleming?
You know what? I have a really nice Mac on the way for my editing, and that may have been a small investment from
as I say, right? You can't talk always too much about it, but you'd hope that because of the situation and the downsizing, that at least they recognized that, it had to be done, and, fair payment for letting you go, right? And as you say, Fleming's got lots of money.
Well, if they did, I wouldn't be laid up.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But there was a little severance, and they recognized the years that I put in, which was great, and that was basically it's covering quite a bit of my equipment cost right now.
So new computer.
Yeah.
You already had a camera that you're using, or did you buy a new?
I bought a new one.
So what are you shooting with?
Myself. So right now I'm kind of in that upper entry level for professionals. So I'm using a Nikon D5600. It's a DSLR, and it's a crop body sensor, which I would like to change, but it's a good entry camera. So, and I love Nikon because they haven't changed their lens pattern since 1950 something. So
cool.
Lots of options there.
It's a brand I recognize. Right.
Well, I mean, Nikon and Canon are kind of the two
right.
leaders in that area, but I just I prefer Nikon. They have smaller bodies too, so they're easier to kind of hang on to, and
right.
Yeah, just a little more variety with lenses. So, but the new equipment's been actually pretty fun.
It's funny. Last night we had our 5th week of this particular league, and one of the co-owners had come in to do some digital marketing and wanted to do some filming, and he brought his very looked expensive camera with a big lens on it, and then shot 90% of everything with his iPhone.
You know what? It's funny. I had not really got a good look at it, and I didn't really get invited to participate. And my wife later on reminded me that I was actually wearing another club's t-shirt. So I believe that is why I did not get invited to the photo shoot, because I was not wearing the appropriate clothes.
Whatever. You paid your money.
Yeah, it's all good. So talking points, just kind of looking through, Harmony was kind enough to give us some cool ideas of things that she talks about. And I think this is one that maybe you and her, Wes, could talk about, is fast cars.
Fast cars. Oh.
Or driving fast or fast cars?
Just driving. No, fast cars are definitely an interest in my life too. I think I've seen every episode of Top Gear, and I just cars are
Did you watch the Grand Tour?
The Grand Tour. That's
the Amazon one after they got fired from the BBC.
I did watch 2 episodes of it, and that's about as far as I got.
It's not bad. It's pretty good. You should check it out.
I don't know.
Those 3 guys make it though.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you take out all of the actual car reviews and you go into like what they were doing on the BBC with their little films and stuff and all the antics, that's all there. So if you like those guys, the Grand Tour is totally worth watching.
All right, maybe I'll get back on that bandwagon.
So I actually own the 2013 Top Gear car of the year, the GT86, the Toyota. So, and it's not a fast car by any means. It's only a 4-cylinder, but it's a lot of fun to drive.
Yeah. Well, my favorite car, and you're going to laugh at this, is the 88 Jeep Wagoneer with the beaver panel on it.
88 Jeep Wagoneer with the wood grain.
With the wood grain. Sure. I love that car. My family makes fun of me. They're like, it's the ugliest vehicle. Why do you like it? And it's my dream vehicle because it's this vintage. I don't know. I just love.
I see Wagoneer and I think camping trip. Immediately, I think of a camping trip.
Michelle just pointed out somebody has, I'm not sure if it was Ford or who it was, but somebody's got something out this year with wood paneling on the side.
The Broncos made a comeback in the Ford
maybe,
lineup,
and higher price ticket. I think it was $54,000. So I mean, it's not entry level, and they put that wood panel on purpose. So,
and that's something I would love.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people think it's tacky, but I just gravitate to it.
That is the Wagoneer is your dream car?
That is a car I would love to have.
So if money was no object, that's what you'd have in your driveway.
Okay, so if money was no object, maybe there'd be a variety, obviously.
Yeah, me too.
It's going to be a couple of things. So what would your number one be?
So a little bit of off the beaten path. I'm a huge fan of, so the car that I drive, my 2013 Top Gear car of the year, is based, at least the styling is heavily influenced on the 1969 Toyota 2000 GT, which is arguably the world's first supercar. They never come up for sale, and when they do, they go for millions of dollars. So, I mean, if I could get one of those, I would love to. If I couldn't, I would like to have a Lexus LFA.
Why?
The Lexus LFA was Toyota's "we're going to build a supercar because we can" statement. It's not the fastest, it's not the biggest, it's not the most powerful, but it is beautiful. And like they put certain attention to details in this car that other car companies wouldn't consider. Like the exhaust note is specially tuned by Yamaha.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's just it's a ridiculous car, and it's one of those ones. It's the Will Smith, right? You got this much money in a car that's got no cup holders. Like it doesn't have any cup holders. So yeah, Lexus LFA is definitely up there.
What about you, Scott? What's your number
I'm
one?
not a car guy, but I've always said I'd love a BMW, the Roadster 2-seater convertible. It's a sweet looking car, and just a nice little thing to go out and boot down the road in.
I'm glad you didn't say Mazda Miata. That's good. So.
Yeah. But as I say, right, I probably didn't own, my first vehicle was the truck first vehicle I owned was the truck I got stolen.
That's right.
And the truck I'm currently driving, and everything else has been my wife's vehicle until that point. So, I'm not really too picky in the car. I've come to the conclusion that maybe I can't even have the car I want anymore because my back and my hips don't like getting that low
Yes.
to the ground anymore.
Yes, I watched you get out of your son's car yesterday.
Yeah, it's
and you looked like you were crippled.
yeah, it's super interesting. So I mean, truck SUV certainly suits my body type a little bit more now, but yeah, anything that is getting comfortable and things like that.
So I think you preface this segment by talking fast. So that's a question for the table. What's the fastest you've been behind the wheel? You personally operating the vehicle?
Are we being modest about this or really honest?
Being completely honest. Whether it was on a public road or on a track. And I'll tell you right now, I've never been on a track, so poo-poo on me.
Yeah. I think my top speed was probably 190 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
And I have also never been on a track, so
yeah.
poo-poo on me.
190.
I buried the dial on my parents' Omega, which I don't know.
What did it top out at? 220?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But it seemed fast and out of control.
I had my ex-girlfriend's car. It was my girlfriend at the time. Her 1995 Dodge Spirit is a little V6. 192.
Ooh.
192 on the Sturgeon Point Road.
I mean, I look back on that now.
Yeah.
And as I said yesterday, I drove to work with my son yesterday, and in the passenger seat, I felt out of control. Like the vehicle was going too fast, and he was cornering too fast, and then I had requested that I drive home.
I was, you know what? I had this conversation. So you were eating your meal, and he stood there to talk with us, and I suggested that. I said, well, your dad's been a driver for 30 odd years, right? So, going back and being a passenger after all that, maybe you weren't going so fast, or maybe you weren't being dangerous, but it's hard sometimes if you're used to being in the driver's seat.
And right, he's not driving. He bought that car. So, I mean, he's not driving a newer vehicle.
No.
And it's got a few more creaks and cracks than I appreciate. And maybe the suspension's not as great. So I drove home so I could get a better feel.
Sure.
At the speeds he drives.
Yeah.
And you know what? It definitely feels better in the driver's seat than in the passenger seat.
And I think that leans into what I was saying about just being a driver.
Yeah. But I'll defer to Michelle every day of the week. Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Oh, she was a professional driver for
that's right.
a number of
exactly.
years, right?
You couldn't be safer than in that seat. And that was in our relationship. That was funny that a long time I didn't get to drive.
Right.
Because she just couldn't let it up. And then
that's fair too, right? And
I remember there, as we got going and she trusted me and she actually would fall asleep in the other seat. And so I mean, like, right, little things, but I was a terrible driver early on.
So I'll close that segment off, unless you guys got something else to add to it.
Oh no, I just agree with being the driver.
Yeah.
I cannot do the passenger thing. And you know what? And the funny thing is too, is I get motion sick.
Oh yeah.
So if I'm not driving, I find that my experience wherever we're going, I just get nauseous. And
there's enough cognitive engagement to being a driver that it actually can combat motion sickness. They tell you that to put people who are motion sick, put them in the front seat. Right. So that they can see better. And if that doesn't work, then I guess the next best thing is be the driver.
You're going to put me in the front seat. I'm going to be
driver.
behind the wheel.
Yeah. So I'll wrap it up by saying I do not condone dangerous driving on public roads. No. I certainly would advise you to take it to a track, and certainly the speeds with which I had mentioned were many, many years ago, and I don't drive like that anymore. So full responsibility for my previous behaviors, but I don't condone.
I'll agree that you no longer drive that fast.
Thank you very much,
Miss Daisy.
And
I know.
Neither do I.
Old man driver Wes.
Especially being on Peterborough Auxiliary, some of the things you see from crashes and
it gives you speed kills.
Driving. Oh, it absolutely does. So I'm definitely more responsible.
It's funny you mentioned that. One of my last duties in the last couple of years that I was in the military, on top of everything else that I was doing, was they wanted me to go and take the unit driver instructor, driver trainer, driver examiner course. So that meant literally going back and being a student driver again. And it's like, you don't realize how many bad habits you have until you're expected to assess somebody else. And so then suddenly you're acutely aware of all your bad habits. And that really made a difference in how I drive every day. So yeah. Like I say to people, when's the last time you opened a driver's handbook, right?
Right. Maybe helping a kid.
Right. So when you have those, I don't want to say road rage, but you have those moments where maybe you have a disagreement with another motorist. And that's the first thing I go back to is like, when's the last time you opened the driver's handbook? Because things do change over the years, right?
I feel like, for sure. There's things I do because that's how I learned. Yeah. And now you look back and maybe I am at fault.
Yeah.
Maybe I did that wrong. Or
I think we had that conversation around the whole four-way intersection and the four-way who goes first.
Right? The first guy there, the guy to your right.
Yeah. No.
Most aggressive driver. That's the one who goes first.
So if 2 cars, okay, what's your opinion? So if 2 cars pull up and stop at the same time.
4. Let's go 4. 4 cars at a 4-way stop all arrive at the same time. Who goes first?
The most aggressive driver. No.
So that's one way to resolve it.
The person on your right. But
everybody's on the right of somebody. So the defensive driver in me would say I would make eye contact with every other driver, and we would establish some form of visual communication to establish who's going to go first. The reality of that is the most aggressive usually does.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, right? And I would be like, well, maybe whoever's making the shortest distance. So if somebody was taking a right.
Making a right at that intersection.
It's easy, right? You're in and out of it super fast versus driving straight through.
Yeah.
I mean, the addition to the stop sign at Emily Park.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was in the first few days that sign went up. And I mean, right, they put the new stop sign ahead.
Yes, and they put a big flashing red on it.
Dear Lord. I mean, the people that ran that,
I can imagine.
Or you stop at it and the people behind you would be honking at you.
Because you stopped. Because you came to a complete stop.
I came through that not that long ago. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but I mean, you drive it every day. And I mean, I'm still struggling. They've added another 60
on County Road 10
through my commute. And it's still that thing is, my foot didn't get up or I didn't slow down for that 60. And it's like, I don't drive 80. So it exponentially is worse when you realize that you're not doing 60.
That's right.
But I feel like there's a surplus of stop signs and 60 max signs throughout all these municipalities, and they're just making projects and putting them up. I don't understand whether it's increased residential traffic or just complaints or increased accidents, but there must be some reason for the additional signage.
I wonder if it's complaints based and that maybe somebody has, enough, squeaky wheels are squeaking loud enough that somebody's like, oh, we better put some grease on this.
Right.
There are a few residences out there, and I wonder if maybe it's one or maybe the storage business. I don't know.
Yeah, one close call, I guess, is, right? And you never want to see anyone get hurt or, heaven forbid, worse than that, right? Because you didn't take advantage of lowering the speed limit. So
exactly.
I'm all for it if it's safety based.
Hey, even though we have some of the most ridiculously slow speed limits in the G8.
Yeah, right.
By and large. But hey.
So anything else we missed, Harmony, or anything else you wanted to add, or any questions for us, or...
No, it was great to be on the show today. Thanks for having me. I had a good time. I hope that maybe you guys have me back in the future just to do like an update.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, so...
As I say, we're slowly getting...
Our social circle is pretty small. There's a good chance you're coming
back. This will all get put back together. And as I say, we're going to get some stuff uploaded. And you'll probably be the first, either included in the initial upload, or you'll be the first update when we do it. And we'll let you know when it's actually going to hit the air so we can all cross-pollinate on our socials.
Yes, I'll be sharing that.
So very good. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me again.
So once again, it's Harmony Reinhardt, and it's Reinhardt Photography. Tell us one more time where we can find you.
It is. So if you Google Reinhardt Photography on the web, you can find my Instagram, Facebook, and website. Website is reinhardtphotography.com.
And do yourselves a favor and like and share that for us.
Yes.
All right, Scott. It's been another fantastic episode. Glad to always sit down and talk about nothing.
Exactly.
All right,
talk to you later.
Until next time.
All right,
bye
guys.
for now.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us at the Barbershop. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Please like and share us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to stay up to date on all of our shenanigans. Hangin' at the Barbershop is a Sawcast production.